Quick shout out from our sponsor, Share ID. Are you trying to boost conversions to your Shopify store? Need to drive more customer loyalty? Get results fast by offering exclusive discounts to consumer communities with Share ID. Share ID helps verify students, teachers, military, first responders, and so much more of these groups. With Share ID, you'll get a verified match in seconds. You can spit out an exclusive discount for customers on the spot. Try speaking directly to a new customer segment with this verifiable identity without adding friction to the shopping experience. Continue to drive incremental revenue in the next 90 days post-purchase with more tailored messaging for your email and SMS campaigns. I personally tested Share ID to see just how easy it was to get set up, and I was pretty much ready to go in under 15 minutes. The onboarding was simple enough for me to follow as a non-technical person. Go to shareid.com/Shopify and start your free trial today. Once again, that's shareid.com/Shopify and start your free trial today. It's great stuff. We both tried it. We both like it.
Honest to God, I've been drinking nothing else for 3 months. I shit you not. I think in February, I tweeted saying I was having issues with caffeine and I was just like a jittery mess. And Greg replied to me like, well, just try this. If it's no good, I'll refund you. Honestly, I haven't stopped since. It's fantastic. I love it.
Go to nowave.co and use pod 10 for 10% off your order. That is NOOWave.co and use code pod 10 for 10% off your entire order. Hello and welcome to the Brand Builders Podcast. We have Tom Brown and myself, Matt Lady, as your co-hosts. Each week we have a catch-up, open forum discussion, chit-chat about how our businesses, projects, brands, industry stuff going on, what we're struggling with, what's winning, what's working, and what's just on our minds. So we just want to share the true ups and downs of building a D2C brand and being in the industry. So, Tom, how's it going today, man?
Pretty good, man. It's another Monday, another week that has vanished. You just scared the bejesus out of me with it being, what did you say, like 95 days till Black Friday?
95 days away from Black Friday as of this recording. By the time it comes out, this episode comes out, it'll be even sooner. So let's start there. So Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Tom. What immediately first went through your head besides, oh shit, I didn't realize it was that soon?
I mean, you nailed it with, just before we got on this, we were talking about it and talking about inventory. That is definitely the first thing that just came to my mind. Forget marketing, forget paid acquisition channels. Yeah, I'm suddenly now thinking shit, that's 90 days to get stock in when everybody else is going to be competing for the same space. On freighters, on airlines, that does not leave very long to get stuff out of the factory. So that honestly had slipped my mind. I think I have seen so many tweets of people don't talk about Black Friday, don't talk about Black Friday, stop. It's only March. Let's not talk about this. And I think I've kind of stayed in that headspace.
The summer flew by, and now
it did.
It's we're fall. We're about to. It's almost September as of this recording. It's coming. It's flying in. So yeah, inventory, especially depending on where you're getting your products and manufacturing, and where you have to ship it to, your warehouse and factory, and if you have special collection or if you have new products, if you have special packaging or inserts, or there's just so many things. It's not just oh yeah, I got to click the order more inventory button. There's a whole process that goes into it, right?
Yeah, there is, Ben. Wait, how are you thinking about it? How are you planning for it at this point? Because clearly you are way ahead of me.
So right now, as of this recording, I'm currently interviewing for head of growth role at a brand, and I'd be the first marketing hire. And I didn't get the job yet, so I can't say this is exactly what I'm planning for. But it would be like you said, inventory is the first thing. It's cool. What do we have now? How much more do we think we'll need? Can we look at any historicals from last year? And in this case, this brand does. They've been around for 2 years, I believe. So always start with last year. I would recommend is just say how did last year go? What the heck's going on? And especially the last 2 years for us right now, 2022 is the first pandemic year, the second pandemic year. This is the third. We're kind of out of it, kind of still in it. It's kind of weird. So
yeah, I was just gonna say on that. I mean, are you expecting similar kind of volume to last year or the last 2 years, or are you thinking? I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. No, it's a good question. I haven't given much thought to macro, overall, hey, this is going to be overall generally bigger or smaller than past years. But it is kind of recession kind of here in the States. And I don't know, the government just passed some inflation reduction bill too at the same time, like this past week. So, but I saw something, I think from Chris McCoolin, maybe. He's awesome. Follow on Twitter.
Yeah. Coolin.
Yeah. Coolin and audit. That's the second thing. It was like the second thing I would do if I got hired is like buy an audit. Like that's the like number one thing.
Dude, I feel like I should be on commission at this point. The amount of people I keep sending over to audit is insane.
Don't quote me on this, and we might have to edit this out later. But I think you can. I think they have like
that now.
A partner podcast. I think they might have something for you. So, but that's number one. I would. And it's not like the current brand site is bad. The one that I'm interviewing for, it's not bad. It's just I know that it can be better, and there's iterations, and there's design stuff, and it'd be a lot easier to have someone just kind of tell me and show me, and then be able to like project manage the execution of it. And be like, cool, let's do this test. Let's do this set of changes now. Let's wait. Like, okay, let's do this before Black Friday. Let's do all this at the start of next year. Yeah. Like, it's kind of weird to start thinking that far ahead of time. Cause I'm, like I kind of mentioned or have been talking about, I've worked with 5 to 7 clients at least, like all the time, the last several years. Yep. So it's hard to go that deep on any one brand. And this is the first opportunity I get to do that. And I've done so much planning and prep work and ideas, and I've just been sending them looms and slide decks, and like and this guy hopefully is enjoying it and loving it. So I'm really excited. So that's kind of where I'd start is the audit, is the inventory, and just look at last year. What Black Friday did last year, what was the offer, what was the numbers? Let's project 20% higher than that. Let's project 20% lower than that. Okay. Let's see how much in ad spend we should like plan then according to those scenarios of like best case, worst case of like different return on ad spend rates. So seeing how much bigger your list size is from last year. If you grew 10,000 email subscribers, depending on the size of your brand, or if you added 50,000, that's huge. Like, you know, that's a huge different lever you can pull. So those are the kind of things on my mind as I'm hypothetically planning for Black Friday 95 days out for the job I don't technically have yet. So that's just kind of the start of things.
I mean, I know you and I have kind of talked about it off air. Is the driving factor, you know, thinking about like working with one particular brand, is, you know, it's kind of the attraction with that and the excitement of being able to actually go into depth. Because like you say, working with 5 to 7 clients, I mean, I've done that too, and I still do it a number of times, and you do get spread apart. And as much as my goal honestly was always to try and apply like basically the same strategy. If we were going into Black Friday, like, okay, the same like 7 brands are near enough going to have like the same strategy. It's going to be tactically pretty much the same. But I know when that's not been the case, I mean, it's exhausting trying to like, fight 7 different strategies and execute them all at the same time. It's a lot.
In different verticals, different industries, different sizes. That someone just started this past year. This brand, other brand's been around 8 years. It's a wide variety. So, so why I thinking about going in-house is a few things. One is that I get to go deep on one single brand. Part of me thinks I've jumped from project to project and started different stuff and kind of been all over the place because I haven't had the time or opportunity to just go deep on one specific thing.
Yep.
And now, years later, Facebook media buying is not just turn on ads, add more budget. You run a brand, and you can get $1 billion that way, and then move on. Like there's so much more competition. The landscape has changed. I want to be able to use my past knowledge and experience and interest. I'm just really interested in this stuff to be able to just, hey, from first touch point to the purchase to repeat to email to customer service, like, and I be able to provide my commentary, my input, the strategy, and then actually execute against it rather than, hey, client, I'm just your Facebook media buyer. Like, this is what I think you should be doing. Oh, don't worry, Matt, we got it. Thanks, though. And it's not to say that all my ideas are always the best. I'm always right 100% of the time. It's purely that being more closely integrated and connected with. I just could never figure out the right service offering as I evolved over my freelance and consulting years to like be a fractional head of growth, like a fractional chief marketing officer kind of.
Yeah.
I've never quite figured that out yet. So now this is like a good opportunity to go do it full time. And then like maybe in a couple of years, come back around and revisit it later. So yeah, that's kind of just that's the start. A consistent salary I haven't had in a few years is good. And then the last piece would be like a set structure and routine as I'm continuing to like get my like life together and like building foundations and kind of growing after everything that happened to me earlier this year and whatever. So it's kind of a combination of things, but as you can tell, I'm pretty excited about it and looking forward to hopefully updating the pod and you very soon on next steps.
Oh, it's funny, man. You mentioned two things there. One is like, the sort of consistency and the structure of a day. I mean, I'll be honest, it's something I battled with for, since 2014 when I really first started doing this. And literally at a point now where like, my calendar, everything is blocked out, from like breakfast to showering to like every little element of my day is like in like 15 to 20 to 30 minute chunks. Absolutely everything. Once like that timer goes off, I am onto the next task. It's the only way at this point I can actually work. Otherwise I just find myself either like getting stuck into one task and then to the detriment of something else, or I procrastinate way too much. And I can't allow myself to drift. And I don't know, I get like shiny object syndrome and I'll start looking at like the next business.
Twitter.
What's the next thing? Exactly. Or Twitter.
Next brand. Yeah.
By having like a just formulaic structure that's in my calendar Monday through Saturday, it's the only way I've really found that works. Even, to the point of like scheduling family time in there. And I know that perhaps sounds a little toxic. I don't know. But it works. I know exactly, like, clock over that time. Like, that's dedicated time. Put the phone down. Don't do anything else. Actually, just go and see your family.
Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is I've kind of been talking to a lot of folks recently that, again, have either had brands in the past that perhaps haven't failed, but, they've struggled to kind of get scale on, or they're at a point where they're thinking about quitting and going full time. And I think, again, with recession and everything looming, my best advice that I'm kind of giving to people right now, and it's not the path I took, so I feel kind of hypocritical even saying it, but I wish I had of like stayed in a job that covered my bases, covered my salaries, and then just spent like evenings and weekends actually working on my brand. And particularly, if we're going through a recession, like just take that job security right now, while building something to come out the other side of it. Like honestly, I think if it was me in that situation, that is what I would be doing right now. Yeah, I think I'm with you for sure. I've had the stress and pressure and ups and downs of not having that all taken care of before I left. And it's just like made me pretty narrow-sighted at times and like short-term thinking and like
100%.
Not having coming from a place of like abundance or like security. It was like sometimes my decisions and actions were reactionary and I wasn't patient enough because I couldn't be. I was like, oh shit, gotta like pay the bills literally next month. Like, oh, I can't invest in the business, but I kind of need to. So like, that's where I'm at now. It's like, cool. Like, do what you want to do for this one brand that's in a great position to do.
Yeah. We've
talked high OV, high margins, in the States I believe in States manufacturing and shipping.
That's very cool.
Lightweight, refillable, consumable kind of product. All the things that are kind of going for it. Yeah. So I think now's a good time to do that, get that consistent salary, keep taking care of myself and my health, spend time outside of the job to go live life and go see friends, go hang out with family, go play basketball, like just like do other stuff and not be so like stressed and worried about career and job and all this stuff every single second, every minute. So
there's a lot to be said for it.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, man, I feel like I'm pretty confident that something will work out here with the role because I've sent him. I've pretty much shown him I can do the job, and like, here's what I would do. I said that's how I knew that number, 95 days out from Black Friday.
Mm-hmm.
The title of my slide deck is 95 days out from Black Friday. This is what I would do, and I have like my list of priorities and tasks, who I would hire, like the audit, the like what we should save for later or what can be prioritized after to start next year. Like I kind of like I would, because again, I don't know if I mentioned it on the pod yet. I think it's just only off air so far. But I got this connection, warm intro, as an email. I saw someone connect on LinkedIn. They email introed me. Then she left on maternity leave, like right after. So I got lucky. But there's 388 applicants on LinkedIn for this role in the last 3 months. So I got to stand out somehow. Besides the warm intro, I just showed that, like, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I think. This is how I would approach it. Again, I don't know his numbers. I don't know his metrics. I don't know where his cash is at or the inventory. All I know is we're ramping up for Black Friday inventory soon. So let's reconnect next week, is what he said a few weeks ago. So that's all I know, and like what I can see from the site. And so anyway, that's I'm really excited about it. I hope to update you and everyone soon about it. A quick reminder from our sponsor, ShareID. Find your next lifetime customers by providing verified discount codes based on occupation or life stage. Speak directly to veterans, students, teachers, first responders, and continue to tailor your messaging to them in the future with post-purchase emails and text messages. Make them feel seen with your brand by using ShareID to seamlessly verify their email in seconds during the purchase process. Go to shareid.com/Shopify and start your free trial today. A quick note from our sponsor. Just a little reminder that No Wave is the coffee for creativity, which us D2C folks need plenty of. Their signature flow state coffee is organic ground coffee with L-theanine. This is shown to help lower anxiety, improve brain function, and sharpen your focus. Tom and I have both tried it and have made it our coffee of choice when cranking on ad accounts and planning for big events like Black Friday. It's the perfect way to kickstart your workday, whether you're at the office or working from home. Go to nowave.co and use pod 10 for 10% off your order. That is NOO wave.co and use code pod 10 for 10% off your entire order.
Yeah, it's funny. It just kind of make me think, like, of the majority of people I have hired, whether that's contractors, freelancers, full-time staff, agencies, by and large, the ones that I took on were the ones that basically started doing the work before I even hired them. Like, they came in with problems of like, and offered solutions immediately. You know, they'd already started like, you know, we've been on your flow for 2 weeks, your email flow, we saw this was missing, like, here's the fix, here's the template. And just gave it to me. And I'm like, do you want to do it? Like, almost every time.
Yes, exactly. It's like, oh, you shouldn't do work for free. And like, I get that argument. I get it. And maybe we're in a position to be privileged and have an extra hour or two to like do these things and like not have to charge for every second of our time. But that's the easiest way to, like, people can interview and be really good at interviewing and then not be able to do the job.
Yeah.
But if you just show them, hey, you're funny that you brought up the email flow. That's one of the things I said. I sent him an email. I'm like, hey, dude, like, as of right now, I still haven't gotten your abandoned checkout flow. Like, I abandoned checkout and like I didn't get it yet. And then I emailed him later. Oh yeah, it's been 4 hours. I finally got it. But that's one thing we could test. Like, we can do it a little, you know. So it's funny that you mentioned that, but I think it's so true. It's just like, here, I can actually do the job.
Yeah. It's funny, on the flip side, man, like, when I went into consulting in 2019, I went into the Shopify Entrepreneurs Facebook group and literally for just like 8 hours a day, just answered questions back and forth constantly. And like, if someone had an issue with their site, like, I would literally log onto their site and I would figure out whatever the problem was and then just send them like screenshots or, you know, like a line of code of like, you know, change this will fix this, just for free constantly. Like, I would do audits for people that were trying to work out like why their conversion rate was low and just like, you know, like a 12-page document and fire it back over. Almost like, I would say for like 50-60% of the time, like, that got me work with those people. And yeah, it was an hour or two of my time and it sucked working for free, don't get me wrong, but it led to so many connections. And because I was doing that in public as well, of like, literally, I would just go on and post whatever that PDF was that I'd created for that person. I just post it in public and like, you know, 400 other people would see it. I would get so many DMs asking people if like I could do the same thing for them. It was outrageous.
Yep. That's the benefit and opportunity with either private or public communities, social media. Like what we want to do on this show is like we want other people to ask us stuff too, and we can help you.
Yeah.
So we don't just have to talk about what we're doing, what we think, what's going on. We want to help other people too. So we'll get to those kind of types of episodes or segments too. So that's really neat, man. And that's how I got my first couple freelance clients as well.
Yeah, it is.
Is like through Twitter and Facebook groups.
Yeah,
is like. That's how I like got my first one. I'm like, okay, I guess I could leave the full-time job now. I just start freelancing. I'm like, okay. And just kept doing that. So, because I'm not the one to be like, here's my 10-step methodology that will 100,000% increase your ROAS or your money back. Like, and then do these threads and like boast and share. It's like, I just want to help people and show you how I would do it for you in this situation. And I'm not always right, and I'm not always perfect, but you know, that's just how someone thinks about it. And to contextualize information for someone is more important than just here's how I set up Facebook campaigns. It's like, well, no, this is how I would set up an actual campaign with ad copy and headline and a landing page for your brand.
This individual brand, absolutely, yeah, 100%. I'll be honest, yeah, I kind of preface a lot of things like, what if I'm responding to tweets or Facebook messages or whatever the hell, I always kind of preface it with the fact of like, I am just some random dude on the internet. Like, this is purely my 2 cents. Feel free to ignore it. I've done this before, but I'm not an expert. So like, ignore it if you want. I don't care. Like, I do not proclaim to know everything.
Yeah, man, I'm with you.
Funny, you kind of mentioned the Twitter thing, and I'm kind of playing with it at the moment, of like trying to figure out like what's like the best way I can kind of reach out and actually add the most value. And I'm kind of been playing with, you know, like a few threads and a few tweets of just. It's a struggle to not come off as just like an arrogant, obnoxious dick. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think threads are inherently bad or good. I think depending on who it is and why they're doing it, and if I know them or not, then I know it's like, cool. They only do this because they can't actually keep their clients. And they constantly have to generate new clients because they're too busy posting and doing cold outreach to get more clients and more revenue for the agency. Yeah. But then they don't retain any. So it's like, okay, if they're doing that playbook, then okay, cool. I've seen this thread last week. Like, it's not unique. I know what's going on here. But if it's like, cool, this is like, I'm Tom Brown. Here's like my experience for my brands. Or like, I've seen this recently. Here's my thoughts. And it's not like, steal this playbook and what? I guarantee all this stuff. Like, the clickbait and hyperbole is too much for me.
Yeah, likewise. I think that's kind of the route I'm trying to go of. Like, this is just like, this is my truth. Yeah, I'm going to share what is my truth. It may not be the truth, but it's what I have found to work for me. Like, that's kind of as good as I can give. Just not talking in absolutes, and for the love of God, not saying like retweet this and maybe I'll give you a link or a DM to some sort of free guide. For the love of God.
Oh, yeah, for the love of God, indeed. Yeah. No, but Twitter generally is still a pretty good place. Summer months, a little lower engagement. People are complaining. I'm complaining. Some of my stuff, I'm like, I have more followers now than I did 2 years ago by a large margin, like 10x than I used to. I had like 400 followers. And I'm like, but less people are liking and commenting on my stuff. What the heck is this? Because I'm not doing a bunch of threads or not posting 20 times a day. Oh, okay.
I know what it feels
in
like.
Summer months. So it's all good. Like, you know, it's a lot of connections still. That's how we met. Like, this is how I get clients or used to get clients. This is how I make referrals. This is how I make intros, get people on the other show, the other podcasts. So get sponsors potentially. And one that we could talk about is one sponsor. Yeah, we can. This is not an officially sponsored segment this second, but next episode it will be, is No Wave Coffee by Greg. He's awesome. He was a former like pro wrestler, kind of like turned into like coffee brand owner. He's been running this for the last couple of years. He's expanded on his I believe on Amazon and on his Shopify. Both D2C as well, and just it's great stuff. We both tried it. We both like it.
Honest to God, I've been drinking nothing else for 3 months. I shit you not. I think in like February, I tweeted saying I was having issues with caffeine and I was just like a jittery mess. And Greg replied to me like, "Well, just try this. If it's no good, I'll refund you." honestly, I haven't stopped since. It's fantastic. I love it.
That's it. That's the ad read. That's the editors cut the clip. Cut the clip. Like that's it. That's one of our ad reads for that. That's like that's really good. That's genuine, authentic host. Like you just made it up. You didn't like read that off a script.
No,
that's way better than anything we could have came up with. So that's great. So we'll have Greg. We'll have an intro and a mid-roll segment. So make sure you support Greg. And if you're interested in partnering or sponsoring with us, hit us up. We're always open to ideas. And this is for everyone. This is not just for us. So we'd love to connect and jam. Okay. Moving on from Black Friday on Twitter a little bit. I'm sure we'll touch on Black Friday more as it gets closer. Mm-hmm. And we talked about... All right, Matt, hold on. Pause the recording. Let me order my inventory. And then we'll get back into it. But... we talked about my potential job. Okay. And then I just wanted to quickly ask, any updates on selling the brand? Any like thoughts, any follow-ups, any more interesting conversations or things that have come up since we first mentioned it a couple weeks ago?
There have been a few interesting conversations. A couple that are still kind of ongoing, that are just sort of due diligence stages. There is potentially an aggregator, and I can't actually name names who yet because they're still in stealth mode. They just raised something like 25 million euros or pounds, one or the other. So they are European. They are opening up a London office currently in Germany. But it's on this airs, they will probably be out of stealth mode. But yeah, they are looking to acquire quite a number of brands in the UK and Europe quite aggressively over the next 12 to 24 months. Wow. That is potentially quite exciting because they are quite interested. They've kind of just asked me to, like, if it hasn't sold in a couple of weeks' time, like, could you keep us posted, basically, which is kind of a nice place to be.
Yeah, that's neat. So you can keep like, cool, I'm just going to keep running the brand for now. I'm going to keep these other conversations going. Mm-hmm. If it's not an obvious hell yes,
yeah, then
cool, I can find out, do I want to keep running this myself? Or see, now you have this almost backup option. Kind of like, yeah, hey guys, you got it? You ready? Let's play ball. Let's talk.
I'll be honest, that's kind of the privileged position I'm sitting in right now. Like, I don't need to sell the brand. It would be cool if I got a sensible offer and it was something like, that's a no-brainer. I'm going to take that. And I feel like the brand is going to the right house, the right family. I can't say I've overwhelmingly felt that at this point, so it's kind of like, I'll leave it and see what happens.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm sure even with them, a big aggregator like that, you might have more, I don't know, flexibility is the right word, but different options of how to exit. Exactly. Like smaller, like a single owner or like someone who's less money, like, or cool, like, I just have to buy it outright or pay you out over time or whatever. But then they're like, we'll fund you. You keep growing it. We'll give you some money to hire people. Like, you're still kind of there, kind of not. There's a bunch of different options you could like probably go compared to a smaller buyer. So I think that's really interesting. Yeah. Well, cool. Thanks for sharing the updates on that, and we'll keep checking back in on that.
Definitely.
Cool. The last one here for now, I believe, is Klaviyo. There's been a lot of Klaviyo price increase discourse and opinions and posts and threads and conversations. Some people kind of openly just kind of bashing on Klaviyo, like, oh, you said you were for the small brands and now you're raising our prices again. And then there's plenty of email marketers who I really respect and trust and would hire that say, yes, it's getting more expensive, but that's mostly for enterprise level, big brands.
Yep.
And it's still the best option out there for most brands. So I'm that's what I'm hearing and seeing. I just want to get your thoughts if you see anything different and what you got to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think fundamentally I agree with that. I think, the kind of rumored like price rises going around, I'll be honest, I haven't even looked because like in my mind, like I'm not moving myself, I'm not moving clients away from it. I think it's like a 13% price increase. And you're right, like particularly on Twitter and in Facebook groups, everyone is kind of outraged by this increase. To an extent, I get it. have Klaviyo's costs gone up in terms of like, servers or anything like that? I would hesitate to guess not. Certainly not at the rate of inflation that everything else, like physical, tangible goods, is seeing. I might be wrong. Maybe the server costs have gone up. I really don't know. But I think you're right in terms of like looking at other options. I mean, there's a few competitive, and I think the two I'm kind of thinking of is Omnisend and Drip would be like the two that I would actually realistically look at right now. And I know there's like the Shopify email as well, and I believe they introduced flows into that last year or early this year. I'm not really sure. I haven't looked at it, to be honest. When it first came out, I didn't really consider it as a viable alternative, so I've not really looked at it since. It kind of felt like just a competitor to MailChimp, if I'm honest. Like it would get you so far. If you were just starting out and using nothing else, like great, just use Shopify's solution. But and then like on the flip side, I kind of see, and I think it was Moise Ali actually sort of shared this of, the fact that you're paying more for Klaviyo than Shopify is kind of outstanding. Like in that regard, it makes Shopify look cheap. And I don't know, I can't tell where I sit on that, because in some ways, like, I think he's right. In other ways, like, I know a lot of us spend a goddamn fortune with Shopify every month, proportionally. And then I kind of think of like the return that we get from using Klaviyo, and it's fantastic. If I'm paying like $500 a month, like I know I'm probably getting 10 to 20 grand's worth of value out of the back end of it. So that $500, it's kind of just the cost of doing business at this point. And, again, I've kind of spoken to a couple of people that were like, okay, what would it cost us to move everything over Omnisend or over to Drip? And by the time, like, you get someone in there, a designer, a builder, it's just like doing a copy and paste job. Like, the amount of time it takes to migrate everything over to another solution, like, we're talking weeks, if not months. Like, the cost is vast, which, to be honest, I think wipes out any savings and some that you would pay over the next, like, 5 years of switching. I don't know that it's worth it. That's kind of where I'm sitting right now. I might be completely wrong.
I don't think you're completely wrong. I'd argue you're almost never completely wrong, Tom. I think you have a good perspective and read on things, and I think what you said is reasonable. And what I also been seeing, maybe we're stuck in the same echo chamber, but possibly. I think generally that's kind of a good way to look at it. I'll add one more competitor, and is Privy. They started out as just as a pop-up machine a few years ago, or many years ago at this point. Last year, 2 years ago, I forget at this point. They got acquired by Attentive. So I've been seeing, since the Klaviyo news, I've been seeing some messaging and posts about switch from Klaviyo and save over 50% on your bill.
Whoa,
like,
okay.
I'm like, whoa, that's a strong offer. And like, we'll help you onboard. We'll get you set up. And they're much more than just a, pop-up platform now. Like they have email and SMS flows, campaign, all like, I don't know to what extent, like comparatively. Again, I haven't tested it or I haven't used it for that. So that's just the one more I would add.
That's fair to say. I mean, I remember looking at them when they sort of rolled out SMS, and actually it was quite a well baked out solution. I hadn't realized they rolled out email with that as well. That's damn cool. Yeah.
So but again, like you're saying, the opportunity cost is so important to consider.
That's kind of thing. Especially right now.
Cool. Especially right now. Especially like if you're sitting on a bunch of cash and budget and time, and you're not in a rush, then. Sure, if you're just going to hold on to this brand for the next 10 years and like slowly build it, cut the cost down, maybe. Sure, I got you. But the point I'll make as well, because I agree with like your perspective, is that even if you do switch to another competitor, the amount of specialists and experts, freelancers, agencies, or in-house people that you'll end up wanting to outsource and like higher anyway, goes astronomically lower with those other kind of solutions. Klaviyo is best in class. Everyone learned on Klaviyo. Last few years anyway. Like if you're working with OGs in the space, like 8, 10, 12, 15 years, sure, they've been through a bunch of platforms. But anyway, like it just kind of reduces the, like not a total but adjustable market, not like the revenue, but like the total adjustable like talent, like tat. I just made that up. But like, it's just, that's one thing to consider is like, cool, I have to then consider that for in the future. Even though I like it a lot, do I want to make someone use this platform or then be able to have to switch back later?
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I'm kind of thinking like most of the agencies and stuff that I've seen or come across or worked with over the last few years, like I don't know any of them that were anything but Klaviyo experts. And I think that they've worked. I mean, and again, actually, I'm kind of forgetting this. I think Shopify just made like $100 or $200 million investment into Klaviyo in the last couple of weeks, which I mean was poor timing, I think, on their part. They just laid off 1,000 people, but there we go.
I don't disagree with that. Yep, right. Kind of interesting there. The strategic investment and partnership is there. That's definitely part of it. And then part of it could be we're so in like the Shopify ecosystem that there are other like e-commerce platforms out there.
There are definitely
like Magento and like different stuff.
No, not Magento.
it's out there. I'm not saying advocating you should use it, but man, it's just something to consider. There's a lot of like, it's not just immediate. I get to save 50% on my bill, and I switch. There's time, there's effort, there's energy, there's the hiring later on. There's how it integrates with the rest of your tech stack. Like Klaviyo is one of the big ones now. So any new app or any app that's been around in service, they already integrate with it for the most part. So like your customer reviews, your loyalty like apps, your Wonderment, your ship tracking, like all that sort of stuff. Like
you just talking about that. I think like the other sort of word of caution I would put on this, if Klaviyo is putting their prices up, you may get some deals for like the next 3 months while everyone's trying to steal customers away from Klaviyo. It's not going to take long for everybody else to figure out that they can then bump their prices up to compete with Klaviyo, that they don't need to be the cheapest in the market anymore. At that point, I think I'd be scratching my head of like, why the hell did I just spend $5,000 migrating everything across? I've saved nothing
in the last 7 weeks. Like a lot. So that's a great point. That's really good to make sure like that short-term, long-term thinking. It's something to consider. So, any final thoughts on anything we talked about today? Anything we just mentioned? Wrapping up on Klaviyo, email, Black Friday, head of growth, selling the brand. Anything, or are you good?
I think that Black Friday needs to be a bigger focus for me right now.
Cool.
Thank you for that gentle reminder.
I got you. And next week, no pressure, but next episode will be 88 days away.
Oh, good God.
And then, so if you need some help, maybe next episode we can talk through some stuff, or like I could help like poke holes in anything you got going on or whatever. Or
that sounds like a good shout.
And we can field questions from other people too. We'll figure it out. So that sounds like a good starting point for next time. Everyone else, thanks so much for listening. Really appreciate it. Me and Tom, I always speak for myself. I don't know how his cheeks are feeling.
Me too.
Okay, cool. I'm speaking for Tom too. Like my cheeks like hurt after these. Like it's so fun. This does not feel like work. This is amazing that we get to do this. I'm so glad we do it. And I hope I get to say that same thing in a year, 2 years, 3 years from
me
now.
Too.
So
you won't be loathing me by that point. But
Likewise, man. Likewise. So thanks so much for listening. Really appreciate it. Go buy Greg's coffee. No Wave. Next episode. We'll get you discount codes and links and all that stuff. So thanks for listening. Catch you next time.